Alrighty, my friends. Holy shnikes. Hi, welcome back to another episode of the Mind of Reese. I am feeling like I'm fully integrated. I feel like I've had many a death or rebirth. We just got back from the Worldly Wealthy Creative Retreat in Mexico, which was absolutely insanely incredible. If you are looking to collapse time around your business, your life, your rituals, loving yourself more while also becoming the most wealthiest version of you and calling in that wealth from the external world, go to in-person events. You can absolutely sign up for our emailing list if you'd like to know which one the next one is happening. I believe we might do it in December. We're thinking somewhere tropical, another tropical spot, but I won't drop the spot just yet until we have it confirmed. Or if you want to do something even more fun, come and visit me at my one-day seminar in Utah in May. It's a one day seminar, but talk about collapsing time of like 5 months worth of coaching in one day. That's usually what happens whenever we get into these spaces. And I don't even like to call it a seminar. It's a full-blown fucking experience because seminars are boring. And I'm not about boring. So we're talking about like integration, movement. And this is something that is limited seats available. So I highly recommend coming and joining us. Go ahead and click on that link now, buy your ticket before they all go out, and then come back to this podcast episode and listen to the juice. So after being in Mexico and just really coming home to so many different, it's like when you solidify into your purpose, when you understand that you are anchoring into your purpose, when you go out there and you see the results that people are getting with the work, the body of work that you've created, because it's something that you've created for yourself, it's such a sight to see. When you have people who have never meditated before, who have never done somatic meditations or somatic healing or moving meditations before, where we're doing embodiment work, and you have people that are so afraid to be seen, to be heard. You have people that have been lone wolves their whole lives. They have these sisterhood wounds, and then they come on these retreats because they followed a nudge, not knowing a single person there, and then opening themselves up to expansion is incredible. To see people doing it on their own. I was waking up early a couple of mornings and seeing exactly the people that have never done any of this work before, and they're doing it on their own. And to watch people transform in as little as 4 days is like fucking insane. It is insane. And so a lot of what I teach is through embodiment, because if we're going to be building iconic brands, an iconic personal brands, that needs to come from the relationship to you, so that you can show up in yourself fully, so that you can call in the people and offer transformation and results in the way that you want to offer them. Like, this is about going full send. Like, this is like, I fucking bet on me energy. And that's like, when people show up in that energy, it is like, you 10x everything. The fact that we went in and then did all this work and this beautiful work from a body perspective, getting to know ourselves, getting to love ourselves, really honoring our shadows, really honoring the things that are coming up for us, and then reverse engineering exactly the actionable steps that we're going to take in order to build those iconic brands. Like, some of the artists there were like pivoting. There was, we have coaches in there. We have tattoo artists in there. We have makeup effects artists in there. We have death doulas in there. Like, we had a whole array of people, of creative entrepreneurs in this space. And I was so like, just like my heart was cracked wide open. All of our hearts were, and it was just incredible. So getting into rooms live is so gangster, energetically amazing. And I just love it. So I'm excited for the next one. I'm excited for the few events that I'm having this year. One in Utah, one in Chattanooga, Tennessee, and then I'm throwing another Worthy Wealthy Creative Retreat at the end of the year. So get into one of these rooms, do the thing, let's go. One of the biggest lessons that I did offer, because when you're in energy and in spaces that are so like high level, you're like, oh my God, you just want to go, and you have all these great ideas. The thing is that there is this aspect that when you leave the room, when you get out of the vortex of this energy, this bubble that you're in, and you're like, can I trust myself to do this now, or can I trust the pause? Like, and there's an art to trusting the pause. And I think about this. I remember, like, there have been times I remember way back in the day when I was just a painter, just a painter, an art student. And this was, gosh, back in when I was like maybe way over 10 years ago. This is when I was still, when I was painting a lot and I thought I wasn't going to get my tattoo apprenticeship. And I remember a lot of times being in my studio, paintbrush in hand, staring at a canvas and nothing coming. You have the colors. I imagine the colors in my mind. They felt like really distant, and my hands just kind of refused to move. And the urge to force something, anything, was strong. But then there's this deep knowing in my body to pause. And this happens even during tattooing, when I'm tattooing and I feel like, oh my gosh, it's not looking like the way I want it to look, because I do faces and I do them in a very methodical way. And the way that, like, when I do portraits or things like this, it's like, oh my gosh, is this dark enough? Is this a shadow enough to where this nose is going to look three-dimensional? And I can feel myself wanting to rush. But oftentimes what happens is that when we are going over skin, we got to let the skin settle, right? It's like the pause. And that also happens in business. That pause can feel unbearable. We want to force it. We want to rush it. We want to keep going with it. When you're in these spaces with high-level women and entrepreneurs that are just like fucking here to fucking go get it, like, that's a gangster like place to be in. But then when you leave each other, you're like, holy crap, I have all this energy. Where do I put it? Where do I put the energy? Right? It's all of a sudden now it's like, can I be okay with the pause? The space between inspiration and action, between uncertainty and clarity. So whenever I think of that pause, it does feel unbearable. But the pause isn't empty. It's rich with wisdom if only we're willing to trust it. So in life and business, we're taught to keep going, to push through, to hustle our way forward. Pausing feels counterproductive, even risky. But what if the pause is an absence of progress? What if it's the reset your nervous system needs to anchor back into trust and alignment? So in all of my spaces, when I teach building iconic brands, we talk about anchoring. It's the number one part in my 7 parts of building an iconic brand. And it's something I go into heavily in my membership in the ARC, which is January. So January, the first month, is like every single day I am teaching you, dropping voice lessons, voice transmissions, voice trainings into this Telegram group that we have with, all of these beautiful creative entrepreneurs, how to really anchor into yourself. And this is that self-trust, that understanding, the allowing, really that intuitive sense right in between. Because there's always this aspect, there's a hallway between where you are, where you want to go, from an old belief to a new belief, from, inspiration to action. You're always in a hallway. Nothing is just, I'm inspired, now I take action. Sometimes it is, but there's always a little pause in between. The little pause is so rich with wisdom if you're willing to trust it. And so what if we allowed ourselves to truly be in a pause, even when our nervous system is trying to say, go, survive. We need to survive. How about that the way to thriving is actually by allowing yourself to integrate, to pause, to marinate, to let it sink in. Because the truth about the pause is where clarity finds you. It's where you reconnect with your why, your purpose, your deepest mission. It's where your nervous system recalibrates, shifting from fear-based action to faith-based action. So when I think about trusting this pause, I'm thinking about how I can make my moves so intentional, my words, my presence, to being so grounded in the understanding that my work is legacy. I am building a forever fucking business, that the shortcut is the long way. And that if I can continue to understand that and be intentional, even when I am afraid, even when I feel scared, even when I think nothing is working, even when I don't see the evidence, the money isn't coming, the clients aren't booking, whatever is happening, can I continue to stay intentional with knowing that everything is happening in my highest good? And the more that I lean in, the more I'm going to find myself entrusting my own self to move in alignment. And I've said this in the past couple of conversations here on the podcast, where alignment doesn't mean easy. Alignment doesn't feel good. Alignment most of the times it means crunchiness, growth, expansion, doing outside of something that you ever done before. And whenever we're doing something new that our body has never gone through, it will constantly trigger the fear within us to stop, to go back, to stay warm in the blankets when it's snowing outside. When you're like, oh, alignment is telling me to go out in that snow barefoot, your body's like, we're not doing that. We're going to stay here in the covers in front of this fire. And it always feels so good to stay in the covers of the fire. But why, it's like, oh, why not tomorrow? We'll go out there tomorrow. And then we lose that trust within ourselves. And oftentimes when we don't honor our spaces, when we don't take the pause to become aware, we self-sabotage. We tend to overwork, overdo. And when we do that, when we self-sabotage, when we decide to not procrastinate, when we procrastinate, all of a sudden we subconsciously and unconsciously tell ourselves that we're not worthy of that trust. It's like, let's say you have a date with a friend. They're like, hey, I'm going to meet you for coffee at 11. But right when 11 shows up, they send you a text message with an excuse like, hey, I'm just not feeling it. How about tomorrow? So you show back up tomorrow and 11 rolls by and they're like, hey, oh my gosh, I'm not feeling aligned right now. I don't feel ready right now. So maybe tomorrow. And then you come back tomorrow and they don't show up again with some other half-assed excuse. Well, you know what? Things are just not working right now, so I'm just gonna hang back. I'm in my winter stage. I'm in my winter season. Like maybe tomorrow. How much trust and faith are you gonna put in your friend to actually show up the next day? Not much. Not much. You're probably going to be like, actually, I'm not going to waste any more of my time. That's actually what we do to ourselves. We break our promises to ourselves. We break that trust to ourselves whenever we say we're going to do something and we don't do it. Whenever we don't pause and instead we just overwork. We're running away from, we're moving from fear versus moving from faith. And so it's like, how do we begin to trust that pause, right? How do we trust that pause? So number one, I want you to redefine what progress looks like. Progress doesn't always mean forward motion. Sometimes it means stepping back, reassessing, and giving yourself permission to breathe. In the pause, you're still moving, just inward instead of outward, which is so fucking important. Because if I don't take that pause to see, hey, whoa, I can tell that my actions want to come from fear. But can I trust myself to take a moment to come back home to my body to ask, I've got this fucking really wise body that knows exactly what needs to happen next. And when I feel like I'm moving from fear, can I honor and lean into that fear, feel that fear, accept it? Now, this is where my Body Wise and Wealthy method really comes in that I teach in the ARC. Can I come back in and accept it, honor that part of me, and still move forward in the direction that I know scares me a lot? So we redefine what progress looks like, that inward sense of self, because the more that I can trust myself, the more that I can handle hard things. Business, entrepreneurship comes with hard things. That is inevitable. I will promise that you will have challenges at every step and every stage. You want expansion? Expansion is uncomfortable. You will get what you need in order to get what you want, because the universe, God, source, spirit will always honor. It's like, oh, she desires this. They desire this. Okay, well, you need to become a person that can hold this. You need to become a person that can hold this. So I'm going to give you what you need. And these things that you need, for most people, 95% of people who are entrepreneurs, the thing they need is an obstacle happening to them. They're like, oh, woe with me. Everything's easy for someone else. That person has more luck. They get it. They have the code. They just know. Not me. Woe is me kind of vibes. We have this like victim storyhood that happens. And then from there, we traumatize our nervous system to experience a situation from a place of victim, which is nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. Sometimes things really happen that are like, oh my gosh, they overstretch us. And then we go back and we take a step back. But can we still be resilient and trusting ourselves? Like, even though this happened, even though someone judged us, even though someone said something bluntly, if someone made you feel some type of way and it's scary to do it again because you're afraid of what that might feel like, can we still honor the space of like, no, but I know that this is exactly what I need, and let me just take a pause. Let me not move backwards. Let me just pause right where I'm at. And the next thing I want you to do is I want you to anchor into your breath. This is step 2. And when the pause feels uncomfortable, come back to the breath. Inhale deeply and exhale slowly. And repeating the cycle. Maybe it's inhaling and holding for 3 counts and then exhaling slowly, repeating, and then feeling that feeling within the body of whatever it feels like. Oh my gosh, the overwhelm, the overwork, the need to move, the need to just do in order to suppress whatever I don't want to feel, to numb out. And like just giving that space, and anytime that tightness feels like you feel the tightness, just allow that to loosen a little bit. Give it space. Speak to that part of you. Your breath is your anchor, your reminder that you are safe in this moment. The third thing I want you to do is I want you to ask the pause what it needs. Rather than rushing through it, get curious. Ask yourself, what is this pause asking of me? Maybe it's rest. Maybe it's reflection. Maybe it's simply a moment to remember who the fuck you are. Maybe it's to realign with the purpose, to remember why you're doing this in the first place. Trust that whatever it's asking is exactly what you need. Like whatever like it's saying to you, when you ask the question, what is the answer it's giving you? And if there is no answer, let that be an experience as well. And then the fourth thing is take the inspired fucking action. See, the thing is that often when we try to force something, we break something. So I'm a very disciplined human being. I've been disciplined my whole life, and something that I cultivated really young. And I feel very blessed to have this level of discipline. It's something that you can learn. It's not something that I just am. And I'm disciplined because especially when I understand what my purpose is. When I understand my purpose, then I understand, okay, this is where I'm going. I believe in this. This is where I'm moving. This is where I'm going. I love this. I love my legacy work. Like this legacy work I could do all the time. People ask me if I get drained during live in-person events, spending 5 days with, 9 to 14 people at a time, taking in everybody's energy and stuff. And I'm like, no, it fucking fuels me. And that's how I know it's mine. Anytime, it's the same thing when I stopped taking tattoos I did not want to fucking do. And I would rather take the income hit. And I promised myself, I'm just going to take this income hit. Like, fuck this. I don't care if I work 1 day a fucking month. Like, I'm just not even going to I don't want to do anything I don't want to do. And the moment I just continued to do what I did want to do, I was like, fuck yes. And just got better at the thing I was doing. I was like, fuck yes, this fuels me. And of course, I was always working. I was always getting work, whether it just be getting by, if there was moments of like the months of just getting by of like, hey, yeah, we only worked maybe 8 days this month, but that gets to be okay. Or the months where I was fucking, oh my gosh, I'm booked up to my ears. I remember when I first started doing that, it was not easy at the beginning, but I knew. I paused in a second and I was like, I would rather take the income hit than do a tattoo that I did not want to do. Now it could be the opposite for you, but it has to light you the fuck up. And anytime I did take tattoos that I didn't want to do, I recognized that. I was like, oh. And anytime I recognized that, instead of just taking more tattoos I didn't want to do, just saying, well, I just got to pay my bills, I deepened into my understanding of my marketing because I knew, I was like, there is no way. There's so much evidence of other artists getting clients, the ones that they want at all times. So what did I do? I was like, what education can I sink my teeth into? How much better can I get at the artwork that I'm creating, at the experience that I'm offering to people? Not only the experience in the chair, that once they're there, they get it. They're like, yeah, I love you. This is amazing. But the new people that needed to experience me before they chose me, they trusted me before they chose me, right? That's a marketing thing. So I got really good at that. I got really good at branding myself. I got really good at demonstrating, not just showing up, but demonstrating my values both verbally and non-verbally. And this is embodiment. So people hear, feel, sense my presence, my essence, my energy. And they are like, I love this person. I don't just want a tattoo, I want a tattoo from you. And so that pause allowed me to understand exactly what I needed to do. And yes, was it scary? Always. You guys, it just gets more easeful for me to do hard things. But my level of hard now is the same level of hard you have. It might just be on different income brackets at this point. I spent $75,000 last week on mentorship. Again, I $50,000 on a tax bill, like crazy, because of how much money I made last year, like crazy. But it's the same thing as me spending $10,000 on a tax bill. If it stretches you, it stretches you. Stretching is the same. It's all the same. It's the same stretch whether I'm spending $1 million or whether I'm spending $10,000. Doesn't matter. Whether I'm making $5,000 a month or whether I'm making $100,000 a month. Everything is a stretch. It will always be stretchy. It's just I have created the space for myself within me to trust myself, to anchor, to pause. Because I know that within the pause, that pause will become clarity. When I am confused, that will become clarity because I paused. I decided to lean in, to get aware of that, to align with it, to be like, hey, you're allowed to be confused. Actually, I fucking love being confused. How can I just switch it around? This is called shadow work, something I love to teach. Body wise and wealthy method, baby. And so when it comes to clarity, act on it. Like all of a sudden, I'm not clear on exactly what I'm doing. I just know, okay, this is the room I need to be in so that perhaps I can get some clarity, to get some ideas, to do this, to do that. Maybe it's for me to invest in this thing or that thing. I've not been without a mentor since 4 years. I refuse. I love mentorship. I don't care. I know I have all the strategies. I know exactly what I'm doing. But to have that back pocket support is like gangster. And when you lean into it, like the people that get the most out of my programs are the ones that lean in hard. When they're like, yep, I'm going to take up space. I'm going to do this. I'm going to put myself out of my comfort zone. I'm going to show up to the meetings. I'm going to do all the homework, and I'm going to be intentional about it. These are my pay in full clients. My pay in full clients are the ones that I see them every single fucking day. It's the people that are like, oh, I have a plan B. Yeah, of course you're going to have one foot in, one foot out. So those types of people they're like really here for the fact that like I'm confused. I have no idea what I'm doing, but I'm going to take the inspired action because I feel it in my body. Even if the next step feels small, let that be enough. Trust that every aligned action builds momentum. So something I would love for you to do is just to find a moment to pause intentionally. Sit in the silence, no distractions, close your eyes and place your hands on your heart and breathe deeply. And ask yourself, what do I need right now? What is this pause here to teach me? The pause often looks like, I don't know what I'm doing. The pause often looks like, nobody likes my content. Everything is not working. Those are the moments where you're like, if I have that thought, can I rewire that story? Can I actually pause to look into this? Because the moment I allow my body to feel it, I can say, oh my gosh, I love little old me. Little old me. We just need to pause, because the magic of the pause is that it reminds us we don't need to have all the answers right now. The next step will reveal itself when we're ready to take it. And let the pause be your guide today. And trust it and trust yourself. And the more that we lean into that trust, the more that we are going to get out of it. And the faster we end up going, the more money we make, which is kind of fucking awesome. All right, you guys. I hope you have the best day. I hope to see you at Rebel Riches, the live event I'm doing in Utah. The seating, so like it's we have limited seats available, and I have 7 spots left for VIP. So this means that we'll have masterminding one-on-one and dinner together, and I will take you all out to dinner. And so I'm taking 8 lucky people. We have one already taken out, and it's awesome. Someone already signed up for it, and we have a few people already signed up for Rebel Riches general admission. So highly recommend getting in the room if you want to be able to calibrate your nervous system around high cash months, become the visionary of your business, and take your business to another level by becoming an iconic brand, so that one day, if you desire it, you can have the ultimate octopus business, which means that you can have multiple income streams, make money while you make money. Yeah, this is all the vibes, guys. So I will see you there. And I know I'm going to see you there, because you better hurry up and make those plans. And yeah, I'll see you in the next episode. Love you.